Yeah, be
So
good.
next question is from ZP344. In case this hasn't already been asked, do you think you can answer the question of who is the best worst athlete of all time? And with an asterisk, best worst athlete who actually achieved something in a real division in order to just avoid saying Bech Correia.
So best fighter who is the worst athlete.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Wait, are you saying Maya?
Yeah, I mean, this comes with the disclaimer that like all guys that have achieved something have some physical traits. Yeah, they're bad athletes like compared to the elite, but they still have like if you see Maya ragdolling Fitch, you cannot tell me that he's not like stupid strong.
He's obviously very strong.
And he's incredibly strong. Like he stopped Usman in the clinch, and we all know how strong Usman is. So
he finished Dong Hyun Kim with a body lock.
Yeah. And even like, for example, Fitch, not incredibly strong, but like pretty quick, like decent athlete overall. For example, like he was quick, insane cardio. Jake Shields, like a very close friend to the fight site, Jake Shields.
That might be one of the best answers there is, though, Jake Shields.
Yeah, but he's still like kind of strong.
And he's also indestructible.
Yeah, he's indestructible, very, very good cardio, but yeah, very on the slow side and strong, but
in more ways than one.
strong, but not like insanely
not
strong.
Not explosive. Yeah.
Like
not powerful.
Not powerful. Yeah, not powerful at all. Other than that, it's pretty hard. I
think it's not going to be a heavyweight because that's like you can't succeed at heavyweight if you don't have some like ridiculous physical traits.
185 and up, it's all athletes division.
Yeah. People try to bring up Formiga a lot, and I've always taken issue with the Formiga's not a good athlete thing. He moves really well.
Formiga is not like Joe Benavidez, Mighty Mouse, but he's like super quick and insane cardio. Like,
I mean, there's also just
faster.
I mean, Formiga clearly a step below, but. But yeah, you're not gonna get anyone that it's like that bad of an athlete.
There's also like a problem with people like judging athleticism in fighting by only two attributes, which is like explosivity and power and all that kind of stuff. Whereas in fighting, there's lots of like sport-specific athletic traits that you have to have in order to be considered a good athlete and a good fighter for the sport, which is like cardio, proprioception, your coordination.
Yeah, but for example, John Jones, like it's not that he's not explosive, that would be dumb, but he's not like elite level like at explosiveness. But I would say like overall as an athlete, he's very complete. He's a step above.
Does himself a disservice with his athleticism because some of his mechanics make him look like he's not as fast or as powerful as he actually is. I feel like he could probably like hit really hard and like be a puncher if he actually
John Jones, I was having an argument and someone was saying that John Jones is uncoordinated. I think he never like learned like good punching mechanics.
Bad as a joke.
Because he's like he's incredibly coordinated when you see him like wrestling, like transitioning from kicking to wrestling, and he's like the proprioception of John Jones is insane. Like,
no, he's one. Crazy to say because considering his accomplishments and that he hasn't actually had a loss, even though he lost to Reyes. But anyway, just that the fact that I feel like he is like severely underdeveloped is insane because he still beat everybody except for Reyes. And like everybody from Jackson Wink punches like that, so you can tell it's definitely a Jackson Wink thing because that's how they freaking punch. And it was too late by the time like the Brandon Gibson punchers came around because that's not good either, but it's better than what the guys did.
And even then
like Condit.
And even then you see what he does with what he have, and he's very smart, and like I hate John Jones, but he's very good. Yeah.
All the guys that like seem like kind of like compared to their peers, like kind of like frail. Are the guys that come to mind, but all those guys have like crazy athletic traits that like you can't really see as obviously. Because I just said Condit. Like Condit's obviously a great athlete. But he got like ragdolled by a bunch of guys and like wasn't like a big hitter, and he wasn't necessarily faster than everybody. Darren Elkins is a good example because Darren Elkins does have good cardio and is pretty strong, and he can hit, and he's like really durable, and that's like a bunch of things right there. But he's not fast, and he's not powerful, and he looks like shit. So it's like, oh, Darren Elkins is a terrible athlete. Like, Darren Elkins is a pretty good athlete, actually, just all things considered. But he's like janky and looks like that.
I mean, the way that Darren Elkins like gets to all fours or gets like butterfly hooks, you cannot do that like as easily. It's not all technique. He's like very strong and flexible. Yeah. He's like you wrestle with Darren Elkins, you would not think that he's a shit athlete.
Yeah,
like not at all.
He's a professional athlete, as are most of them. So yeah, anyone who's accomplished something in the sport, they were around long enough that they were training like a pro athlete the whole time, and they have good traits. But yeah, it's like okay,
people bring a lot of like fat heavyweights into these discussions, and usually those are some of the
those are the most athletic guys there are.
Like Roy Nelson, like ridiculous athlete. Roy Nelson, like who else? Like I've seen like Derek Lewis called a
people try to pull that one all the time. Like, do you understand what athleticism means?
He's like 300 pounds and throws flying switch kicks.
Yeah, I was about to bring up the switch kicks, but like everything he does, I'm just like
everything like
that wouldn't work.
That shouldn't work. Like he never really learned how to fight properly in that respect. Like
he learned like a couple things that are right, and then he just took them all the way to the bank. It's like bridge and roll, but I will do that from every position, and then I'll stand up.
Yeah.
Like if you are really, really big and strong and powerful, and no one knows how to do back control in your division, you can bridge and roll out of every position. That does work.
Especially if you're like 300 pounds.
One time, like 1 or 2 times, he did that, and someone actually knew what to do from Turtle. Or like from Tripod.
Yeah, DC like took his back.
Yeah.
I mean, the most athletic,
the funniest back take of all time.
The most athletic, freakish feats that DC has ever pulled out is getting Derek Lewis's back without rolling off it. It's just if you go back and watch that fight, watch that finishing sequence, it's like 2 spheres on top of each other.
The funny thing is that Derek like showed up in pretty good shape for that fight, and DC showed up looking like absolute shit. DC was like 280 pounds of full ladder for that fight.
I love that DC
and he was still an insane athlete.
I love that DC, like if you look at him at heavyweight in Strikeforce, he looks like like a strong guy who's kind of tubby. He looks like very powerful, obviously. And when he moved up to heavyweight after years at light heavyweight, he just looked like he just got fat. Just let himself go inside to move up.
But he lost a bunch of muscle late in his career. Like if I would like, maybe some guy is not natty anymore, is like late career DC, because he for the Stipe fight, he weighed in like super light. And he was looking like shit. Like you can tell he lost a bunch of muscle and he was still fat. So maybe not roiding as hard, because disclaimer, every fighter roids, all of them.
Whoa.
I mean, people
I had the answer to the question though, like the actual question that we're discussing.
It's
gonna be somebody from a women's division, because I think those are the ones where you could really get away, especially earlier on.
Actually,
being better than everybody.
Betch Correia, not a bad.
No, Betch is just bad at fighting.
but he still does a lot with what she has. I would say she's a pretty good, a pretty smart fighter, not a good fighter. She does a lot with the few tools she has, because you can tell she's limited like physically and also like technically.
Yeah, but I think you're gonna have a lot of women's fighters
but still she's
15 years ago had a lot of success.
Not that bad of an athlete,
abilities,
because she still punches like decently hard and has cardio, and like
Those
nobody.
dudes,
I mean, I guess like to narrow it down a little bit, it's who is the best worst athlete relative to all the other athletes, professional athletes that compete in MMA. In a division that we would consider good. like flat out good, like relative to the level of their competition.
I'm gonna go with Jake Shields.
Yeah, Jake Shields, because he was maybe he was
because in terms
never,
of like being able to do things athletically, like not just traits, but being able to like be an athletic person and like look like you know what you're doing and have to like coordinate and move your body in the correct way. No,
yeah,
he sucks.
and he has a win against Henderson. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. That's my official answer.
He got hit so fucking hard in that fight.
I thought he was gonna die, and then he won. Like, oh, okay.
All right, I guess so. That settles it.